Buonasera ragazzi, sono io, la Lisa, a tavola italiana. I think tonight I'm going to speak in English a little bit because maybe it's intimidating for you to hear me speak in Italian. Um, I created this page recently because I've been feeling the need to speak Italian and to bond with my Italian heritage. Right now I'm sitting by the fireside at the apartment complex where I've been living this last few months. It's in Northbrook, and I am recording this on a child's tablet. I've been without a phone now since before the lockdown. I was at the YMCA over at Old Irving. I'm not sure if the phone got lost or if it got stolen. I may have even accidentally thrown it into the garbage can. Anyway, it was an unfortunate thing because anybody that knows me knows I work my phone. It's part of my social media. So without the phone, it's very difficult to do certain things. However, I've managed to stay abreast of things. It's been more difficult to connect with people. I like to have my own phone. We do have a phone. I'm sharing it with my husband, and just not the ideal circumstances. I like having my own car. I like having my own phone. I like having my own area to work and stuff like that. We're kind of right now in close quarters, but life could be worse. And there's beautiful fire here. Let me show it to you. Maybe I can turn around. And in the background, over there, you can see that there's a swimming pool. This little area closes at 10 o'clock, and then I'll get kicked out. So it's 10 o'clock now in Chicago. However, that means that it would be 7 hours later in Italy. So I don't think there will be anybody here joining us from Italy. If they are, they're the insomniacs because it's got to be like, 4 in the morning now, right? So if it's almost 10, I guess 5 in the morning. Ok, adesso voglio parlare un pochino in italiano. Spiegavo dove vivo, che sto qui vicino al fuoco, che fra poco mi buttano fuori da questo posto dove sto. Insomma, voglio parlare un pochino delle cose normali di ogni giorno, perché se ogni giorno stai a sentire qualcuno che parla in italiano, imparerai qualche parola. Okay, now I'm going to say this in English. Basically, what was I saying is, if you listen every day, and I'm going to be talking about normal, everyday types of things, eventually you will learn some Italian. But I can make it a little bit easier for you. And, I did not realize what a need there is for this because, it's very irritating when you have somebody that knows the language and they correct you. I'm just thinking about when I go to Starbucks and they have certain drinks where they want to give them Italian names, but then we Americans totally massacre these words. One of them is the word doppio, or as people in the US like to say, doppio. It is not doppio. Doppio. That's 3 syllables. This is a 2-syllable word. Doppio. Doppio. So, you know what? I thought, let me see what there is. Excuse me. I don't know what this is. Let me see what there is in the way of pronunciation on YouTube. For example, there was that volcano in Iceland. I forgot how it's pronounced. But what I did is I went to YouTube, and there's several versions of how it's pronounced. Now I'm wondering if it really is pronounced that way in Icelandic, because I listened to several versions of the word doppio, and they're terrible. They are absolutely horrible examples of how to say this word. So I'm going to start doing some YouTube videos, and I would have liked to have had LinkedIn Live, but LinkedIn is a son of a gun, and it wouldn't give me live because I'm not Richard Branson, I'm not Gary Vaynerchuk or whatever, Gary V. I'm not anybody too famous. I am a seasoned business professional that ran a bricks and mortar in Chicago for 24 years. And then I do a whole bunch of other things, like I'm an artist and blah, blah, blah. But, one way to gain an audience is to find something that people like, and it seems that I'm getting eyeballs on this Tavola Italiana site. Let me tell you a little bit about the history of Tavola Italiana. Adesso sto parlando della storia della tavola italiana, come è cominciato. Okay, what I said is I'm going to tell you a little bit about the history of Tavola Italiana and how it started. Now, what I noticed on Facebook is there's a couple of different groups called Tavola Italiana, and I was happy to be able to use the name despite this. Tavola Italiana was something from my college days when I was taking a graduate class in Italian, and there was a table where we all would congregate once or twice a week to speak Italian. And it was a nice way to socialize and get to know other students and to practice the language. When you learn another language, it's like being in another universe. I don't care if the language is science, if the language is French or Chinese. The language could be mathematics. That is also a language. Basically, what language is about are sounds and symbols in written form that have meaning. And language is something that's very interesting. For example, in the English language right now, I've noticed a lot of change. And in fact, definitions are being changed for political reasons and for political agendas. And it's frankly a little bit scary to see how certain terms, like even how we define what a woman is, what a man is, and issues like this and race and so forth have gotten to be extremely touchy. But I'm a traditionalist, and I want to focus on the basics. That is, so that we can enrich ourselves, learn about someone else's culture, share stories of our travels. And in this particular group, I would like those things that we shared to be about Italy, or about Italian culture, or Italian food, or Italian style, or Italian fashion, or maybe Italian linens, which was what I carried and promoted in our business, which I was very proud of, because not only did it promote Italian textiles, but the textile trade in Italy is a gigantic community, and it has had a rough last couple of decades as the industry shifted into Asia. And when you're dealing with Asia, particularly in China, you may be getting product that is made by somebody in a labor camp, in other words, a slave, versus in Italy or France or Germany, any of these European countries. you can't get hired without having vacation and health benefits and all of these things. This costs money, and it drives the cost of production way up. And Europe just couldn't compete. And in fact, I started to see it 10 years ago when a lot of the Italian mills were going to countries like Thailand and China to do their embroideries, because part of it is that as the industry dies, so does the level of expertise in a particular country. There are fewer people that know how to do the spinning and the various steps of the weaving process. So, we're living in a global village now, and everything is global. Tutto è globale. Tutto è globale questi giorni. These days, everything is global. That is what I said. And so, as we can tell from this COVID-19 pandemic, what affects China, affects Italy, affects the United States, affects the whole world. And I was able to identify it early because I went through supply chain issues. The supply chain got really screwed up in 2008 as businesses contracted, and also with that a loss in assets in the real estate market, and consequently a lack of collateralization. So all this stuff isn't really about Italy, just stuff that I talk about. I see I have one person here watching. I wonder if that person would be willing to identify themselves and say hello. Buonasera, come stai stasera? Vuoi parlare in italiano? Io ti posso anche invitare, però devi imparare come lo faccio. So I don't know who's watching, but I can actually, apparently, there are opportunities to invite people too. I'm not really seeing anybody here tonight, but the advantage is that I can share this for later. And, there's a second person now. Okay, all I see is an I in the corner next to where it says live video and the number 2. I think there's a good chance that one of the people could be my husband watching. He's one of my biggest fans, as well he should be. Allora, cosa mi dici stasera? C'è nessuno che vuol parlare in italiano? Prima parlavo della compagnia Starbucks, che qui negli Stati Uniti fanno un caffè molto buono, e anche al modo italiano. Infatti Starbucks non c'è in Italia perché sono intelligenti e capiscono che loro non possono insegnare agli italiani come di fare un espresso. Sono gli italiani che hanno insegnato Starbucks come di fare il caffè. Mi capisci? What I'm saying is that Starbucks was intelligent enough to know not to be in Italy. Why? Because Starbucks cannot teach Italians how to make espresso. Italians have taught Starbucks how to make coffee, not the other way around. So Starbucks, as far as the company is concerned, is a favorite company of mine, and something I've been missing for some time now, because I like to have my morning coffee at Starbucks, and it's where I meet my friends. And I'm living in Northbrook, but I do come into Chicago, into my old neighborhood in Old Irving, and if they were open, I could sit outside and hang out with a good friend. I always love that. Mi piace molto di stare a Starbucks di fuori. Ci sono delle seggiole e le tavole e si può stare fuori se è bello di fuori, col sole. E c'è la gente che camminano, quelli che stanno seduti, e vedo sempre qualcuno che conosco e facciamo chiacchieriamo. We chat, chiacchieriamo. You know, there are times I wonder if maybe I have had a stroke because I can't say certain words. So that's why, another reason why I want to practice my Italian. Because you know what they say, use it or lose it. And that is true for language. If you want to know a language, jump in with both feet. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Just try and make yourself understood. And usually there's more than one way to do that. Even pantomime can work sometimes. I believe in using all the resources that are at our disposal. So here I am, and I see that a couple people have passed by, but I have been here for a while and not much action. I'm sorry about the shaky camera. I do not have a tripod. That is on my list of things that I want. If you happen to have an extra tripod, let me know. I would like to know that. And finally, all I want to do is to ask you to come join me here at Tavola Italiana. And if you have anything to share, please share it. I have the page set to public so that anybody can post. And as long as people are polite, your post should propagate here. If I find it objectionable, then I will delete it. It's that simple. Now, hopefully managing this page will not get too complicated. I was reading about someone else's page. It's a beautiful page. They just changed it from public to private because they had over 1.6 million people posting on it, with about 850,000 of them posting at least 10 or more posts. So these people managing the site have been dealing with a nightmare. I don't need that. Okay, but if I had 1.5 million followers, I could probably sell them a lot of stuff. I'm not selling anything here though. Not yet. I have thought of doing some Zoom classes. I haven't decided, should the topic be Italian culture? Should it be home decor? Specifically European linens and comforters? Should the class be math anxiety? You know, I was the monitor at the math anxiety class, math anxiety lab at my college. I'm one of those people that help you feel comfortable with numbers. Math is also a language, and I can help you learn that language. At least get a little bit more comfortable with it, because numbers are very important in being able to determine what to do, what not to do. If we have a little bit of knowledge of numbers, it is very useful. So don't ever disregard that. And so finally, I bid you good night. We've had a nice little talk here, and I hope to get some feedback. I do want feedback. Tell me what you want to see. Right now, I'm just trying to explain what the page is about and to gain a little bit of traction. Please invite other people. please feel free to share posts. Allora, ho finito di parlare e ti voglio dire buonanotte e spero che tutti stanno bene. Ciao e arrivederci.